So today we're going to talk about another topic in that is also very important. And today we'll jump into the world of something called identity access management. So let's, so that we don't get, sometimes I don't want us to overcomplicate things. And my vision and goal is always make complexity simple. That's it. Anything else is a waste of my time, really, because life is complex already. So we're not going to make it more complex. But let's think about it together. Okay, let's come on. Anytime you hear the word IAM, can we all type IAM? Everybody, if you don't mind, IAM. Everybody, if you don't mind, please. Everybody, type IAM. Not IAM. You guys are so savvy with chatting. Somebody said IAM. No, not IAM. IAM. Identity Access Management. It's a popular word out there you hear. So if you hear it, I want you to be confident, not a big deal. So you might tell, what IAM tool do you use? You might hear that word a lot, okay? So somebody said, what IAM tool? Active Directory, which is Microsoft, is an IAM tool. You might hear, also tools like SailPoint. You might hear CyberArk is a Palm IAM tool, but there are common ones out there, you know. SailPoint is another one out there. Okta, thank you. Okta is another one out there. So, and don't overthink it. In simple terms, ladies and gentlemen, we need a tool to help us manage how we add user into our system. Let's take it again. Let's remove the big talk. If I'm adding people to my environment, there should be a way we can easily track who is being added to the environment. Then are we granting them the right access? In simple terms, really. I mean, that's really what it is, really. I mean, at the end of the day, we're giving access to my environment. Are you the right person? Are we giving you the right role? Is there a risk? I think this is one of the biggest problem in any environment, access control. Can we all type access control, everybody, if you don't mind? Access control. You see this come up a lot. Anytime you see anything under access control, everybody, make sure you get this. You must immediately mentally prioritize it. It's a no-brainer. It's always been like this for the last, to my knowledge, for over 20 years that I've ever touched, security or tech. It has not changed till now. It's like if you have the biggest risk in for your board, for your regulators, access control is always going to, and you can understand why. If you say access control, you're saying you have access to the system. How do you steal? It's because you have access. So let's start with the foundation of access. How do we control access? That's really what it is at the end of the day. And let me ask you all, let's forget cyber for a second. If I ask you, how can we control access to your internet at home? What are some things we should do to control it? Can we try? Just tell me what you think. Don't overthink, forget the cyber part. Just say, okay, if somebody, okay, how do we control that? Password, thank you. Bless your heart. Love it, Zola. Password, yeah. PIN, absolutely. Restrict the password. Absolutely, password. Give me more. Let's think together. Multi-factor authentication, thank you, Shoma. Yes. Two-factor identification, absolutely. MFA. Now, I know this sounds crazy, believe it or not, is the same thing that we do at big organization. It's the same thing, guaranteed. Somebody said VPN. That's another one, VPN. So anything that has to do with access control, in our mind, we're thinking of biometric, multi-factor authentication, password, isolation of the Wi-Fi. There's a lot, and it's this layer of firewall, the proxy server. So there's a lot we can do with token. So token would still fit under MFA too. That's good. So we can say, yeah, we could have tokens, guest account, creating a guest account. Thank you, Adeyemi. That's awesome. So, but that's really, believe it or not, I'll talk about it in a bit, and you guys will see that it's the same thing, really. It's the same thing. What you guys said is what I'm going to repeat, really. And you can imagine, I've not even taught it, but you've seen it already. Another thing we should think about is, which I like is, okay, I like this. Somebody said privilege are restricted. Think about it for a second. Let me ask you, what do you guys think? Do you think all access are equal in an environment. Is that a fair statement? Absolutely no. Let me ask you, let's take it again. If I'm an administrator and you are a user, who should we restrict the access, or who should we provide the most oversight to? Administrator or regular user? Who should we have the biggest oversight? Admin. Why? Let's go. Why? Why do you think so? Why do you think so? Yeah, yeah. Is in charge. Love it. Privilege access because they have more access. They can do crazier things. Their access is more escalated. It means, let's pause. None of us is malicious, but let's think for a second like a malicious actor. If you are targeting players in an organization, who would you target? A regular user or an admin user that has privilege? Which one would you target? Duh. Absolutely admin. Because with the admin access, you can do more. You can change accesses, you can steal information, you can escalate access. And that's why for some of us, if you had your social media account hacked, you know what these malicious guys do? They try to hack the admin access, then they give themselves admin access, then they sometimes even remove you as an admin. Yeah, it's part of the script. Yeah, they will remove you, kick you out, but they must target admin. Why would I care about a regular user? I don't need you. Yeah, your access is useless to me, really, because you are just like everybody else. You can't do anything. So you're not useful. It's the admin or super user. So can we all type admin or super users? Everybody real quick. Admin or super user, everybody real quick. Love it. Or super user. Super user are just a little bit of extra escalated or elevated access. So with them, they are equally dangerous. That's why at times when we are doing security awareness training, we try to make sure those people that have the most access are the biggest target. So we train them different. The way I'm going to train you, like you, my regular folks, is going to be different from the way I'm going to, I'm training my admin. It's a different training entirely because the admin would be more prime targets. So because admins are bigger targets, then we got to just make sure we train them more. Somebody just like your like JR's WhatsApp group, yeah. So in our own environment too, that's why we always you see us throw out and say, hey, security awareness, we're not going to call you for PIN. Scammers call people in our group at times. They will say, oh, well, we are from Skillweed. Listen, dude, anybody can call and say they are from anywhere, right? So why would you just listen and not? So, but it's the reality on ground. So, okay, that's good. We get it. All right. So, believe it or not, that's the core of IAM. We're going to talk about it in a bit. Another second one, I'll just sneak in before we jump into the class side. Let's pause for a second. Tell me what do you think about this statement? Your security is only as good as your intelligence. Let me take it again. Your security is only as good as your intelligence. I think so too. I agree. So that's why in the world of security, and that's why you see nation state invest a lot in intelligence. That's the main thing. If you don't invest in intelligence, then you're a moving target. I remember some years back, we had 9/11. There was a panel, and Donald Rumsfeld, then the defense secretary, I remember he said, it's not a failure of just intelligence, it's a failure of imagination and intelligence. So it's not just intelligence, but imagination and intelligence. So it means the intelligent piece, that's why you have people spend so much. As a matter of fact, many countries don't even have public budget for their intelligence. You won't know how much you spend because it's unlimited budgets. So the likes of your Mossad, MI5, CIA, all of this in KGB, because it's the core of any intelligence or any security in general. The same thing for cyberspace. So for us, when we talk about intelligence, it comes in different ways. It's fair to say if you have an antivirus, right? It's a way you're gathering intelligence. If there was a virus, if you have a vulnerability scanner, if you are scanning for vulnerability, you're gathering intelligence. Now, beside your internal resources, let's pause for a second. I'm in a conference right now. Imagine in this conference, if somebody is talking about a current attack in their industry and is similar to my industry, that can be considered intelligence for me too, right? Because now it's a public forum, or I read the news tomorrow and I see, oh, there was a cyber attack in an industry. That's part of my intelligence too, right? So intelligence is not just internal, external sources too. As a matter of fact, many times the FBI has bulletins. If there are major things, there's a site called CISA, Critical Infrastructure Security Agency in the US. So they will send information to people that subscribe. It's part of the intelligence. So intelligence is not just me using my own tools to gather intelligence because I have blind spot. I'm talking of cumulatively all of the sources of information gathering that feeds into my system to make a decision. Whatever those sources are, they could be multiple. Okay.